you were my very first mentor. And I will always remember you asked me one question on the discovery call. What would happen if nothing changed in the next year? And I was like, I don't care however much it costs. I'm going to figure out the money, because it just hit me when you asked me that question. But I had this mentor at the law firm that I was working at, and I told her about the switch in direction. I was so excited, and you were fully backing me. And she said, you know what, Anna, you're only a staff attorney. So, I mean, maybe I could let my 9-year-old daughter look to you for leadership, but I can't see any adult woman. But what that really did, nothing's ever wasted, is it exposed me to the whole world of building a digital business and online marketing and the career of copywriting. Like, there are people who write emails for other people. What? That's so weird. When you are choosing what you're going to go into, you think back to what you loved as a kid. And for me, it was writing poetry. It was writing stories. It was writing songs. It was always around writing.
So hello, everyone, and welcome into this brand new podcast episode of this Thrive Show. Yours truly here, Giovanna Lady J. Ellison. I am so excited to introduce to you Anna Powers, Sara Anna Powers. Listen, let me tell you a little bit about her. Not only has she been one of my very first clients ever when I first started my business, and she's going to talk a little bit more about that, but Sara Anna Powers is a conversion copywriter and online business mentor. She helps motivated entrepreneurs pursue their powerful purpose by attracting quality leads and making consistent sales through conversion copywriting and magnetic messaging. And she's all about keeping God first in her business as well. So I am so happy to welcome you in. Come on, Anna, come on in and tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got started and just where you are now.
Hello. I am so excited to be here and just to have the honor and the privilege of speaking to your audience. And so, yeah, as you mentioned, you were my very first mentor. I found you through our mutual mentor, Dan Miller.
Yes.
And I had heard him on a radio show, and I had read his book, 48 Days to the Work You Love, which funnily enough, I bought when I was an attorney because I thought there's no way that's true. I'm going to buy this book and disprove it.
Right.
And then I was reading it. I was like, oh my goodness, this is real. And it kind of stuck in my mind. And let's see, I hired you when I was just over 4 years into my law, or 5 years into my law practice. I started practicing in 2009. I started working with you at the end of 2014, and I had just gotten to this place where I couldn't see law as my long-term sustaining, fulfilling career. And I remembered that Dan had shared, that you should have work that you love. And I just, there were pieces of the law that I liked and enjoyed. And I was, of course, grateful for the opportunity, but I felt that there were ways in which my skills weren't being fully utilized. So I applied for coaching through 48 days, and Dan connected us. And I will always remember you asked me one question on the discovery call that made the difference. That was like, okay, I have to sign up with her. And you were asking me, like, why are you interested in coaching? What's going on? And I was just sharing with you, I'm working all the time. I'm making less now than when I started practicing law because I had moved firms and taken a pay cut. And you said, okay, what would happen if nothing changed in the next year? And I was like, I don't care however much it costs. I'm going to figure out the money, because it just hit me when you asked me that question, that if nothing changed over the next year, I just couldn't even imagine it. I was just so beaten down by working so hard for such a small return. And, at that moment, I had the choice to continue being frustrated and basically continue complaining to my friends and family every day, or to actually do something about it.
Wow. Now you have actually, your career has taken off, and the people that have worked with you, that have hired you, we're talking people like Michael Hyatt, people like James Wedmore, these successful entrepreneurs and leaders. So I want you to talk a little bit about the importance of alignment. You were you were the model client, because I remember at that time, I was getting going in coaching as well. And I remember at the time, you had wanted to be in health and fitness. Talk a little bit about how you made the pivot from wanting to be in health and fitness to becoming a master copywriter.
Oh, this is so good. And I just want to just point of clarification. James has been one of my mentors for a number of
Ah,
years, but he has never hired me as a
okay.
copywriter for him.
Not yet.
However, he has hired people that I've trained, or at
Gotcha.
least one person that I know he hired that I trained. So,
Okay.
but love him, and yes,
Yeah.
got to the opportunity to work for Michael Hyatt. Also, have worked for
Yeah.
Chris Carr. So yeah, I've been very blessed to work
Fun.
for incredible business owners. Have gotten
Mm.
to work for you and do some
Yes.
copywriting for you. So
Yes.
that's one of the best parts of the job is just getting to back businesses that you truly, truly believe in and advance
Hmm.
their messages. So yes, the alignment. Okay, I'm so glad that you asked this because, when you were pulling my story about me, I have a history of overcoming both anorexia and binge eating. And
Mhm.
so that's kind of what I shared with you on that initial discovery call. So we
Mm.
decided, all right, I'm passionate about people reclaiming their body image as like you were created by the Lord, no matter how big you are, because that's what made the difference for me. When I had binge eaten up to 220 pounds, it was like a
Mm.
Holy Spirit moment where I looked in the mirror and felt the Lord saying, I love you now, just like I loved you when you weighed 140 pounds, just like I loved you when you weighed 103 pounds. You are you.
Mm.
And that's
Mm.
what made the difference for me. So I
Wow.
started building a business in
Mhm.
that niche. And that's what you and I were really focused on. And I
Mhm.
remember, I don't know if you remember this, there was
Mm.
one session where I
Mm.
came to you and I was like, I think I'm going in the wrong direction. I think I want to
Yeah.
coach leadership or something around that. And you were right there. Yes, like follow what you feel called to do. It's a big switch, but let's go for it.
Mm.
And you know what I did is I let other people's voices pull
Mm.
me away. I knew in
Mm.
my heart that while I am passionate about people loving their bodies, that wasn't really where I felt called to build a long-term business. Not everything
Mm.
that you know or have experience with is going to be your long-term business. And I felt
Sure.
really passionate about leadership, but I had this mentor at the law firm that I was working at, and I
Mhm.
told her about the switch in direction. I was so excited, and you were fully backing me. And she said, "You know what, Anna? I just don't get this because like you're only a staff attorney. So I mean, maybe I could let my 9-year-old daughter look to you for leadership, but I can't see any adult woman looking to you for leadership." Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but it was something like she
Mm.
basically was saying, "You're not high enough up, even in the law firm, for me to
Mm.
take you seriously as any kind of leadership coach. Where
Oh
have you
my.
shown leadership?" And she said, "But
Mm.
on the health side, I could look up to you for that, because I see you like eating your vegetables and you're working out and you're going running. So I just think you're going to have more success there because I think you would struggle to really bill yourself as a leadership coach when you're only a staff attorney." And of course, that's not her exact words, but that was like the gist of the conversation.
Mm.
And I don't think she said that I don't think she was trying to be mean to me. I think she genuinely thought that. She just
Mm.
thought, like, according to the world standards,
Mm.
she was not just an associate, she was like an of counsel. So she was a much
Mm.
higher role. And I think in her mind, it was, well, you're not up here like I am. So you can't do this. And that's a
Mm.
worldly standard, right?
Mhm.
And I let her, and if you remember, I came back and I was like, you know what? We're just going to stick with health coaching. And so we
Mm.
built that up. And I made
Mm.
some money there, a couple $1,000s. But what that really did, nothing's ever wasted, is it
Right.
exposed me to the whole
Mm.
world of building a digital business and online
Mm.
marketing and the career of copywriting. And
Mm.
it was in working with you that I even discovered that a job like copywriting existed,
Wow.
where you're right. I had no idea. I was blown
Wow.
away. Like there are people who write emails for other people. What?
All
That's
the
so
time.
weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had
Yeah.
no idea. And so after I had been
Mm.
plugging away at the health coaching business
Mhm.
for
Mhm.
close to 2 years and, making a little bit, but not really seeing the kind of success that I saw people who started at the same time as me, thriving. And I kept thinking like, why am I not just taking off? I know I'm
Mhm.
working hard. I know I
Mhm.
had great support, great
Mhm.
teaching, and it just, I had a conversation with someone that I knew at the time and
Mhm.
realized I wasn't truly working in alignment with what I desired to be doing. And,
Mm.
delight yourself in the Lord and he'll give you the desires of your heart. So it
Mm.
matters what you actually desire to do. And that's the moment where I changed my niche and I started
Mm.
focusing on copywriting.
Yeah.
And once I did that, within a year, I had built a six-figure business on the side of my full-time law job. So it was like, it was right underneath me,
Yeah.
but I also needed that almost 2
Mm.
years of like plugging away and not seeing
Mhm.
the quick success, because now when I'm working with someone, I can talk about, hey, you can put in all the work, and then there's also divine timing and there's lessons that the Lord is teaching you
Yeah.
in the persevering stage and the
Yes.
waiting stage. And, it's not been all roses, rainbows, and butterflies since
Sure.
then. There's
Mhm.
hard seasons in business,
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
rebuilding seasons, but that, nothing's wasted. If I
Nothing.
hadn't got started as a health coach, I would
Mm.
never have even known that
Mm.
copywriting existed. So I think that's really important to remember.
So I would love for you to talk to us about what that hinge moment was for you when you actually, what was it that happened, or what was a conversation that you had? What was that moment where you said, you know what, I'm going to make this shift
Yeah.
from doing this health coaching to actually focusing on copywriting? What was that hinge moment for you?
Yeah, I remember it vividly. I was
Yeah.
in a group coaching program. And again, this
Mm.
was like the end of my second year in business.
Yeah.
And I had flown, there was an event in London, and I went all out,
Mm.
even though like I wasn't making a ton of money. I'm like, whatever I'm doing, I'm gonna go to the events, I'm gonna do
Mhm.
the VIP level. You know me,
Mhm.
that's just how I am. I'm
Mhm.
like, I want it, whatever the top
When?
is,
Right.
I want to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And the gal who was running the event said, does anybody want to come up for coaching? And I was like, me. And now, having coached so many people, I'm like, I can't believe I did this to her. I wasn't trying to do this to her, but she
Sure.
said, what can I help you with? And I said, I just feel like a failure in front of her
Mm.
whole room of 50 clients, by the way. And she was
Mm.
like, okay, like, tell me more. And she handled
Wow.
it with grace. But
Yes.
basically, she pulled out of me, who are you working with? And she
Mm.
could just hear in my voice, there wasn't the level of excitement there.
Mm.
And she said, what are you helping them with? And it was all the body image stuff.
Mm.
But she said, who do you want to be working with? Just tell me
Mm.
honestly. And I said, well, I get really excited if I'm working with a health coaching client and they say, I only want to like tackle this health thing because I want to build a business like you're doing. I want to be blogging.
Mm.
Then I get really excited. So it's like, I want to
Mm.
help people build businesses. And she said, why aren't you doing that? And I said, well, because I
Mm.
haven't made six figures yet. And she said,
Mm.
okay, but how much have you invested? Like she said, what can you help people do? It's like, well, I can help people run a Facebook ad. I can help people write an email sequence. I can help people build a website. Like I've done all these things. I can help people create a program. I can help people set up a payment system. I can do all
Mhm.
these things. And
Mm.
she said, and how much have you invested to learn how to do all those things?
Mm.
And I knew that it was I mean, I knew at the time it was tens of thousands of dollars. I later went and literally added up what I had put into my business
Yeah.
up until that time, and it was just over $48,000 over the
Wow.
course of 2 years. And so she said, so you've spent tens of thousands of dollars, invested that much to learn how to do these things. You
Mm.
don't think you could offer a coaching program and give that to someone for $1,500 and that wouldn't be the hugest blessing to them? And it just
Mm.
like it clicked. Oh, it's not
Mhm.
about how much money I've made. It's about if I have a skill that
Mhm.
can help someone. I mean, there's
Mhm.
Olympic gymnast coaches who are
Mhm.
world class, who have
Right.
never done the tricks that they're
Mhm.
coaching their athletes on doing. They could not physically ever do those tricks, but
Mm.
they understand how to coach that out of the client. So
Right.
she said,
Mm.
you don't, of course, lie to people. You're not saying I can help you build a six-figure business if you've never done that, but you can
Mhm.
absolutely say, I can help you
Mhm.
build a website. I can help you write a
Mm.
nurture funnel. I can help you set up a payment system.
Yeah.
And that's how I found copywriting, because in the world of business coaching, there's so many options. So I was
Yeah.
like, what's one niche of that world that I am good at or have the potential to become good at? And I'm a
Sure.
great writer. And I knew if I studied copy, I could become excellent at it. What's
Mhm.
something that I love writing. And then what's something
Mhm.
the market will pay for? And I knew from our
Mhm.
mutual friend, Ray Edwards, that people will pay many
Yes.
thousands of dollars for
Yes.
copy. So I was like, that's it. That's what I'm going to focus on. And that's how I started carving out that niche for myself.
But one of the things I love about your story, Anna, is that you have been committed to personal growth over the long term.
Mhm.
Even as you have continued to rise in success, even as you have continued to work for, I mean, some very well-known names, you are still subjecting yourself to learning and to growing. So that speaks volumes. But what I want you to do now is talk to the leader who is at the very beginning. Talk to the high achiever. She's had a successful job. Maybe she's an attorney, maybe she's an engineer, and that doesn't get her excited anymore. She knows that her life is meant for more. Talk to her about the importance of really being in alignment with her divine assignment, even if she doesn't know what that assignment is. Give her some tips to help her really feel that courage muscle, if you will.
So I think it's so important that when you are choosing what you're going to go into, you think back to what you loved as a kid. Like, what did you
Mm.
love as a child that was just like playtime and fun time? And for
Mhm.
me, it was writing poetry, it was writing stories, it was writing
Ah.
songs, it was always around writing. It wasn't about,
Mhm.
cooking. I mean, I tried to cook a meal for my parents at Valentine's one time, and it was like saltine crackers, shredded carrots, celery, peanut butter, and raisins. You
Oh,
know,
no.
for all the courses, just a different combination of those
Right,
ingredients for all the time. So,
right, right.
I wasn't like growing up, it was clear if I could look back and really let myself be honest with myself. Oh,
Yeah.
it's something creative. It's something with words. It's something with imagination. And so I think as your leader woman who's probably been forcing herself to fit in someone else's mold, because that's really
Mm.
a lot of times how you get to a leadership position in
Mhm.
corporate, or I say in
Mhm.
the world in general,
Mhm.
is,
Mhm.
when I was an attorney, it was like I couldn't really be creative and fun. You had to be pretty straight laced and you had to wear the pencil skirts and the stiletto heels. And even if I was miserable by the end of the day, like that's just what was expected. That was the look,
Wow.
that was how you are. So I think it's really important that your person just beginning thinks back to what really makes me happy, and then
Mhm.
choose something that you are willing and you would be actually delighted to
Mhm.
cultivate, even if it takes 3 years, even if it takes
Mm.
5 years, even if
Mm.
it takes 10 years, something that you're going to enjoy along the journey. Because
Yes.
everyone's pace, it's like the analogy I give my clients, it's like sowing seeds. I teach
Mhm.
copywriters now. I certify them and I teach them how to build their businesses.
Amazing.
And sometimes we'll have a client who goes through our
Mhm.
certification, and within a month of certifying, they're pulling in $7,500 a month. But
Mm.
sometimes I have a
Mhm.
client that certifies with us and it's a full year before they ever
Mm.
make that $5,000 month.
Sure,
And
sure.
I can give you the teaching and the training, but I can't predict for you it,
Exactly.
when that's going to happen. And
Mm.
you may be really trying. It's not because
Mm.
you're lazy or, you're not implementing the coaching. I think people are, oh, you didn't implement properly. No, sometimes people are implementing, but it's just not their season for some
Right.
divine purpose that the
Mhm.
Lord knows He's cultivating to make you
Mhm.
stronger, to make you better. And so I think it's really important to choose something that you're willing to stick with for the long term, no matter how long it takes. And that was
Yeah.
another shift that I made when I switched my niche, as I
Yes.
really was at a turning point. I was like, I can either throw in the towel, kind of shut down the business. Say I gave it almost 2 years, and I made a little bit of money, and it was fun, but just not for
Mm.
me. I am a
Mm.
lawyer. I have a career. I can support myself, so
Mhm.
I'm not destitute if I close
Mhm.
this down.
Mhm.
Or I can say, you know what? I'm going to switch courses and I'm
Mhm.
just going to keep going because the Lord still has
Mhm.
this desire in my heart, but
Mhm.
it's to do this other thing than the thing I started out with. So I'm just going to pursue that. And I'm just going to say, Lord, as long as I have even a tiny bit of expendable income or credit available to me, and you have this desire in my heart, I'm going to keep
Yes.
pursuing it
Wow.
until you take that desire away. No
Yes.
matter what, no matter how much I
Mm.
make, in what timing, like I'm just going to pursue it until you take the desire away, if you ever do
Mhm.
that. And
Mm.
I'm just going to trust your timing. And that made all the difference. And of course, then the business started making money. I was shocked. I was like, what?
Yes.
How am I making this much money? This is great. Like I thought it was a
Wow.
fluke for 2 years. It took me
Wow.
several years of being like, okay, this is like real. This is not just some
Mhm.
weird, you know, strange thing that happened for 2, 3 months. Like this is actually real. Did that
Okay.
answer the question?
That answered the question. And
Oh.
I love your passion. You have always been a passionate person communicating what is genuinely your heart. And I think people really identify. I don't think I know they identify with that. They resonate with that because
Mm.
when you are doing work that you love, and it's obvious, Anna, that you're doing work that you love. So as we bring this in for a landing, God has recently done something in your personal life.
Oh, yes.
Oh, so this is what I want you to talk about. Talk about the desire of your heart that you had shared with me on so many of our coaching calls. We would laugh, we would talk about it, we would pray about it. And
Yeah.
talk to me about what God has done in your life just recently.
Yes. So at the ripe old age of 41, hedging on up there till my 42nd birthday, I got married. And then, yeah. So
Ah!
December 11th, 2021, I got married to a wonderful man. And, that was something that I had prayed for many, many years. And,
Mm,
that we talked about. And that was another thing where it's just like, okay, God hasn't taken away this desire. So I'm just going to
mm,
trust in his timing,
mhm,
and people always say, and it's so annoying, when you quit trying, it'll happen. And I was still actively like seeking out, making myself available because I wanted that spouse. But I will say I had come to a place of peace where, honestly, I didn't know if I would ever, I didn't know I didn't know if it was God. I didn't know what God's will or timing was for that. So I
mhm,
really had come to a place of peace. A
mhm,
lot of it had to do with being happy with my work, that okay, if God
mm,
doesn't bring me this spouse, like he's letting me have this business that I love, I get to serve clients that I
mm,
love and care about. And so, I'm just grateful for the life I have, and I'm going to trust that he still has this desire in me, so he's going to bring me that person, or at some point he'll take the desire away. And so he gave me the person, and that was
wow.
December of 2021. And so, being 41 when we got married, we both knew we were hopeful. We wanted to have kids. Of course, I didn't know if that would be possible at my advanced geriatric age. And so, we started trying, and
Mhm.
in June of 22, we got pregnant, and we had our baby daughter, Sarah, in
Ah,
March of 2023, like a month before my 43rd birthday. So I'm 44 now with a 14-month old just racing around. In fact, my dad comes and watches her in the morning. So she's in her nursery. And I was like, I don't know. Usually she's playing out here. She might be
yeah.
making a special appearance for the podcast, but she's been really quiet. So it's all good.
Oh my gosh, that story is worth its weight in gold because, yes, we have a lot of career women and men that listen to our podcast, but I'm telling you, and watch the YouTube, but I'm telling you, the hope that so many of them have for personal desires to come true, that gives so many people hope. So thank you for sharing that. Listen, I want to do a lightning round as
Okay.
we bring it in for a landing. So don't think too hard about these
Oh,
questions. Just first thing that comes to your mind. All right. Dark or milk chocolate?
dark. Oh, no question.
All right. Best book you're reading right now?
Oh, Silver Chair in the Chronicles of Narnia. I've been rereading the whole Chronicles of Narnia series, and I'm on book number 6, which is called The Silver Chair,
Oh
C.S.
my,
Lewis.
wow. Okay. Fiction or nonfiction?
It's fiction. Yeah. Oh, for general, like my preference.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really hard. I would probably say nonfiction. Yeah, I would say nonfiction primarily, but I do think
Okay.
for anyone who wants to be a writer, fiction is really important to read great fiction. It helps you tell better
Mm,
stories.
that's an excellent point. Okay. Hills or flats?
Flats. I would have said something different a few years ago, but
I
now
know.
flats.
Listen, everybody, this woman can dress, by the way, and she
Oh,
loves her shoes and her heels. So, yes, I know now it's flats for sure. Spicy or regular food?
spicy.
Okay, so final one. When it comes to vacation, beach or mountains?
Ooh, beach. Gonna go beach. Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so tell us what you're working on, what's coming up next for you, and how can people get in touch with you?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to share. This is such an amazing full circle moment. I'm
Oh,
so
I
grateful for
know.
you.
Mm,
Started me on the journey, like just so grateful. And I will say for those people who are listening who haven't joined your programs or worked with you, like you
thank you.
say yes when Giovanna has an offer
Mm,
that you feel called to. Just trust she is high, top quality, and she truly cares about her clients and will serve you so well. What we're working on is I run the Clickworthy Copywriting Certification. So anyone who's interested in that can get on the priority notification list at saraannapowers.com/priority. There's no H on my Sara, but the best place to follow me is Instagram, really, right now, because you can DM me. And I would love it if you give me a follow at Sara Anna Powers and just DM me and let me know that you heard the podcast. I love to make connections amongst people, and it's always cool to know where someone came from.
Yeah.
And my website is saraannapowers.com. You can kind of see all the things that we do over there.
Phenomenal. Anna, thank you so much for being with us and the wisdom that you dropped. And this was just a highlight, you all. We could have gone on for another hour, and there will be more things coming down the line. But thank you so much for being here today, and we'll talk to you all soon. Bye,
Thanks.
everyone.